Hallo, ich bin Carlos Valentin und du hast mich ein Rammstein-Fan gemacht.
Indeed, you have Rammstein fan maker. There we go.
Hallo zusammen, I'm your vlog Dave, and today we're gonna talk about my favorite Rammstein lyrics. What do I like about them, what do they translate to in English, and what is so special about them? Let's talk about a few examples today. So the first track that came to my mind when I thought, this might be a pretty interesting video idea, I don't know. Not just for me, but also for you guys maybe, because you can learn some more about how clever some Rammstein lyrics can be. Well, in fact, most of them, I'd say. It's a sort of a hidden gem song in a way, maybe also quite underrated. I'm talking about Spieluhr, Music Box. It's the 7th song on the 3rd Rammstein record, Mutter, Mother. Even though this song seems to be a bit under the radar in terms of, or in comparison with other Rammstein tracks, I really like many of the lines in this one. The actually really creepy, yet fascinating topic about a little child who was thought to be dead and therefore wrongfully buried, well, that is something special in a way. After having woken up inside their grave, well, they start a music box, which in turn allows them to be freed in the end. This gets especially mentioned in the lines "Als der Frost ins Kind geflogen, hat es die Spieluhr aufgezogen." As the frost or coldness flew into the child, it wound up the music box. These lines do not only feature the main item of the song, which is die Spieluhr, singular, die Spieluhren, plural, the music box, literally the play clock, but it's also introduced by a very poetic phrase which could be sort of extracted like this: Der Frost ist in dich geflogen. The frost has flown into you, quite literally. Der Frost, singular, die Fröste, plural, the frost. This is an unusual poetic phrasing, but it perfectly works in the context of this specific situation. It has come to life again, maybe actually because of die Kälte, the coldness. Aufgezogen is a related form of aufziehen, to wind up, and it's a closely connected verb to the noun Spieluhr. And together you have the phrase die Spieluhr aufziehen, to wind up the music box. Another simple yet very figurative line is eine Melodie im Wind, a melody in the wind. Could sound romantic and all, but in the context of this track, the warm melody of living is carried on a cold, lonely wind of winter and death. The following two lines are a primary example for how violent and explicit, yet very well elegant and poetic in a way, lyrics can be. Alle Nägel stehen stramm, wenn ich sie in dein Leibholz ramm. All nails are standing straight as I ram them into your body wood. The made-up compound term Leibholz is a really cool metaphor in the song Stein um Stein, which is the 10th song on Rammstein's 4th album Reise Reise. And since we're talking about the awesome German language, you can even inflect it, even though it's completely made up. So there you go. It's das Leibholz, singular, die Leibhölzer, plural. I'd say it's a rather idiomatic term, which means it can only, or let's say rather, be understood in the context of this song only, and not anywhere else, because wouldn't make too much sense and you don't have enough context to understand what it's supposed to mean. So if you just heard it or read it on its own without having any additional context, it might be very difficult to decipher. It combines the two normal nouns der Leib, singular, die Leiber, plural, the body, and das Holz, singular, die Hölzer, plural, the wood. It certainly could be interpreted as a reference to a, crucified person hanging on a wooden cross, for instance, especially in combination with the straight standing nails, which were hammered into limbs and stuff, for instance. Since the track is about someone who actually breaks in another, alive, person, the song's title translates to stone, by the way. The lyrical eye might be so full of hatred or false love that they don't see the other person as a human being, but rather as part of the structure, work, or the building. Generally speaking about this tune, I really love the both lyrical and musical climax towards the end of the song, when these lines are actually sung. It sounds so majestic in a way. It's really a pretty cool song. Also, maybe sort of an underrated one. I don't know. So the last example, at least in this video, pretty much is the entirety of Rosenrot, the song, the Red of Roses. Not just because roses are cool, all the lyrics in this one are very poetic and very elegant in a way. Linguistically elegant, I'd say. Since I can't really talk about the song as a whole in this one, because this would, well, sort of burst at the seams. I will talk about it, however, in a future video, don't worry. Let's just begin with the first two lines. Rosenrot is the third song on the eponymous fifth Rammstein album released in 2005. And, well, even though the title is very, obvious in a way, for a quite long time, many years ago, I actually got the first verse wrong. The first two lines go, sah ein Mädchen ein Röslein stehen, blühte dort in lichten Höhen. A girl saw a standing rosy or little rose, or like a rose standing there, blooming there in clear or bright heights. And back in the day I thought the poetic minimized noun das Röslein, singular, die Röslein, plural, would refer to a little horse, das Pferd, singular, die Pferde, plural, which, in case it's a very elegant one for instance, or there's a poetic context, it could also be formally and poshly described as das Ross, singular, die Rösser, plural, the steed. However, the noun Röslein is a poetic minimized form of die Rose, singular, die Rosen, plural, the rose. Makes sense because it goes hand in hand even better with the verb blüte, a conjugated form of blühen, to bloom or to blossom. But then again, back then I thought Blüte could refer to the also existing German saying blühen und gedeihen, blooming and prospering, which basically refers to something, not necessarily a flower, that really is in best condition, best shape. It simply works perfectly well and does well in general. What makes these and many other lines in many other songs, not only by Rammstein but also by many other German artists and other poems, really poetic is not only the choice of literally outstanding German terms, but also the use of an ellipsis in each line's last words. Stehen usually is stehen, to stand. They sound the same, but they aren't spelled the same. By dropping the vowel e in the suffix en at the end of many terms in German, well, these terms are verbalized a bit shorter. It isn't so obvious with this one because the sound is the same, but it's more obvious in the other related term in the context of these lyrics, which is Höhen, the plural form of die Höhe, the height. Die Höhen. All lines in the verses strongly remind of old classic German fairy tales by Brothers Grimm and other authors or poets, which really gives these lines a classy and elegant quality. What is linguistically and more specifically phonetically interesting about the endings of these two lines and the last syllables is that even though they aren't really the same endings, they still have a rhyming quality to them, because on the one hand you have stehen and then you have höhen. On the one side we have the vowel e and then we have the umlaut ö. They're not the same, of course, but there's a rhyming quality, in a way. And if you want to find out what every single Rammstein song title translates to in English, well, check out this video right here, because well, here you go. That's your answer to that, I guess. Took a long time to translate that, but you know what? It's also fun for me, so why not do that? Thank you for watching, everyone. I'm your Vlog Dave. Tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.